Now let's talk about qualifications. What do you need to teach English in Brazil? First, you should be a native speaker or near native, although I have known people to pass who were not native speakers, and uh, if your English is pretty good and you look like a gringo, then the odds are you can probably get a job. Now, I say look like a gringo. There's no way to sugarcoat this. If you're white, if you've got blue eyes, it gives you a leg up. It really does down here. Now, if you're, if you're black, if you're mixed race, can you find work down here? You can, but you may find that it's a little bit more difficult. And my apologies for that, but that's just the way it is, and I want to be upfront with you. But if you look gringo and you're a native speaker, then those are the main qualifications for finding work down here. Now, beyond that, a 4-year university degree in any subject, doesn't have to be English or journalism or anything of that nature, but if you have a 4-year degree in any subject, that's a big advantage too, and some schools will require that. The other one, let's see, do you need like a TEFL or CELTA or other such EFL teaching certificate? Short answer, no, you don't. And that's pretty much true across Latin America. This is not Northern Asia, this is not Europe. They just don't care. I mean, I happen to have a TEFL certificate, and I came down here proudly waving my certificate, and all those schools kind of went, oh, nice, And none of them contacted TEFL to verify it. I know that because nobody wrote down the number, the certification number, to contact TEFL. So it just doesn't matter. They don't care. So do you want to go through the time and expense of getting a TEFL or CELTA certificate? If you're just planning to teach down in Brazil for a while, I'd say no. If you're thinking that you might make teaching English as a foreign language a career, and you might go into other areas such as Asia, then it's something you might consider in that case. If you don't have teaching experience and you're thinking about getting TEFL solely for that reason, why don't you look at finding volunteer programs in your community? If you live in a decent-sized city, there probably is an outreach program. Go to your public library, go to churches with active community outreach programs, and see if there isn't a program already set up that where you could tutor people, adults typically, immigrants, in English, and that would get you the experience you need without your having to make the monetary investment, which can be significant, a couple $1,000 perhaps, to get your TEFL certificate. So again, quick recap, what do you need? A 4-year degree is good. A TEFL or similar certificate, not really necessary. You want to be a native speaker. You may need to pass a grammar test to work for a school, but if you're a native speaker, that's not really going to be an issue. Does help to look the part. I have not found that gender is an issue, so ladies, if you're interested in coming down, I have not seen that to be an issue. Lots of women teaching English as well as men. Age, I would say it's not a big issue, although it can be at the extremes. If you're 18, for example, and you want to come down here, okay, you're an adult, but you're not going to have a university degree, it's going to limit who you can teach, and some schools won't want to hire you. As far as the upper end, I don't think it's going to be a big issue unless you're 70, but I was 49 when I came down here, and it was not a problem. I think what you want to do is you want to try and match your age and who you are and your experience to the people you'd be teaching. So if you're younger, you could teach, for example, maybe university students or high school students, and that would be a good niche for you. But you're not going to want to teach a 45-year-old businessman because you're not going to have credibility, right? For me, I can teach those people, and I do. I teach a lot of people in business. I could teach younger people, but I choose not to. So anyway, those are the qualifications, and there is the work visa thing, which I touched on earlier. Some schools are going to want you to have a work visa. You're probably not going to have one realistically. It's a catch-22 because you need to have a contract from a school that's going to sponsor you to get a work visa, and a lot of them won't want to do that. They want you to already have a work visa, and unless you're, for instance, married to a Brazilian, you're probably not going to have one. So it becomes a catch-22. But there are lots of schools down here, and one of them, some of them will give you work. The other thing is, you can always go indie, right? You can go autonomous, and then whether you find students or not is really up to your marketing skills, right? Again, it helps to have all of the things that I talked about, a university degree. Maybe if you have a TOEFL, definitely wave that around. If you look like a gringo, put your picture on your cards and your flyers and so forth. But if you go indie, it kind of opens things up, right? It really depends on how well you can sell yourself, and if you're pretty good at that, if you're personable, and you follow some of the things that I talk about in my course, then you'll definitely find work there too. So if you're a little concerned about getting hired by a school, not getting hired by a school, and you really want to do this, why don't you look at going independent? So anyway, that's a quick summary of what you need and don't need in terms of qualifications to teach here in Brazil.